Alright you guys, it's your boy the Kryptonian saying here, bringing you a review for One Piece chapter 237 and Achira Oda, the world building. Oh man, this is good, man. You know, one of the things I keep talking about with One Piece is the fact that Oda, when it comes to world building, Oda is definitely on another level, man. Like, it's not the best world building that I've seen is shown in manga, but at the same time, if you just look at how he layers it on, I feel like he takes the best approach when it comes to world building. I feel like he does just enough at a slow enough pace to where you can actually absorb where you're at before he adds on to it. That's why I compare it to Game of Thrones. Like, you get just enough in each area of Westeros that you're in before it actually takes it a little further on. So that was cool to see that, man. I like how Oda handled this, but before I go any further into the chapter, or rather give my analysis for the chapter, I do want to point something out, okay? So I'm thinking about, you know, what's been happening in the last few chapters with Bellamy and just Luffy's reaction and the reintroduction of Shanks, and I really feel like this is Oda making a romance dawn arc for Luffy. I feel like this might be heading into the second part of One Piece. Like, I know that, like, with Luffy, he's not really Shanks, but at the same time, if you just look at how the characters handled their situations and you go back and you look at the story arc for, in particular, for that Romance Dawn chapter where you had Shanks, and you just look at how everything kind of progressed through, it really feels like that's what Oda did with Luffy during the Jaya arc. It really feels like that's what was happening. You know, Bellamy was the guy that was giving Shanks a hard time, and Cricket ended up being Luffy at this point. You know, Luffy obviously didn't lose an arm. Pretty impossible when you're made out of rubber, but I just see certain similarities to it that seemed pretty cool, and yet at the same time, it was just more added on to Luffy's character. You had reintroduction of characters. You had more world building going on. Like, you had different things taking place in that. And I feel like it's because Luffy's the main character and Shanks wasn't. And yet, when you go back to that first chapter, absolutely that's what started it all, because you got an idea what the devil fruits were, the consequences. You got Luffy's, you know, basically his whole thing of being a pirate, you know, his motto, if you will, or as Uzumaki Naruto calls it, his ninja way. I guess Luffy would say that's his pirate way. But I like how just those two things, you can compare them. So, moving right into this chapter, the Emperor Cloud, they're right there in the middle of it. And I like how it opens up. Luffy's like, I can't breathe. And at first I'm thinking, damn, did I miss something? Like, did Luffy fall off the ship? Is he drowning? Like, that's what I was thinking. I was like picking up my volume, going back, like, wait a second, did I miss a chapter? Did I miss a panel or something? So Oda got me on that one, man. But at the same time, when Luffy and the others are kind of coming through, the first thing that's popping in my head is like, well, if they're that high up in the sky, chances are they're having a hard time adjusting to the breathing. You know, particularly when you get to higher altitudes, the air gets thinner. So that's why I could kind of see that, man, you know. So I was looking at that and then watching how Usopp all of a sudden looks at the clouds and he's like, ha, we're sailing on the sea, like Luffy says, let me go take a swim. And I'm thinking, this is the dumbest thing you could do, right? Like, at first I was going to give the dumbest thing that you can do award to Sanji, because he's saying, like, I'll give Nami CPR, I'll give her mouth to mouth. Nami, it's just like, dude, Usopp's the one who's out of it, right? You know, I like how Zoro's just like, you're an idiot, and then they have a little back and forth. That's pretty cool just to see that, you know, how Oda is building on, or making it rather known that these two might be butting heads on a regular basis. So that was cool. You know, that really just made me think back to, I believe it was Little Garden, where Sanji and Zoro were having the contest of who could catch the biggest dinosaur. So I like how Oda brought that back. Now, the reason why I give this award to Usopp is, you don't know anything about the terrain that you're in, and yet you just jump right in there. You know, only reason why I could say that Oda had Usopp do this is he needed a plot convenient way, and pause right here, I don't mean plot convenient in a bad way, okay? But I'm just going to say it for what it is. He needed a plot convenient way in order to introduce Luffy and, I almost called him Miss All Sunday, but Nico Robin's, you know, tag team ability, if you will. You know, the chemistry that they have is the two Devil Fruit users, barring Chopper, because we hadn't really seen Luffy and Chopper act like that in tandem, but how those two can combine and work together. Basically, Luffy stretches his arm out. He's trying to get Usopp because they realize that the sky ocean might not actually have a bottom to it, which means Usopp will be plummeting to his death. And Nico Robin basically has this thing going on where she has eyes popping up on Luffy's arms, and well, not arms, but on his palms. And so she's able to guide Luffy at this point. And it looks like Luffy's bringing up this huge ass octopus, which is trying to eat Usopp, which at first I'm going, how far did Usopp fall? And then that's when we get the revelation that because they're so high up, that their buoyancy has changed. And basically that means that they're floating up. So that was cool. And as soon as Zoro said it's like a balloon, I put two and two together. And then a few panels over, Nami and Nico Robin, like their buoyancy must have changed. This was in the log book that Cricket had. So that was cool to see that. And at first I'm thinking, okay, this is just a chapter similar to how when we got onto the Grand Line, we saw how crazy the weather was. Just a, you know, hey everybody, brace yourself type moment. But it doesn't stop there. What ends up happening after that is we have this guy who's got this really cool design. He's got this like ancient Mayan civilization type design going on, right? And he's got the mask. He's got like, looks like a spear. And he gets on the ship and he just wrecks Sanji and Luffy and Zoro, just wrecks them. Okay, takes them out in a few shots, talking mad trash to them. And that's when we get the revelation that this is actually the Sky Knight. The Sky Knight shows up after the fact. And I'm looking down at this now, like basically Sky Knight pops in and, you know, it's almost like he's got the Colonel Sanders thing going on where he's got the beard. So that was cool to see that. But the crazy thing about this is Oda is bringing in other groups. You know, like that's one of the things I've liked about One Piece is the fact that it is a diverse cast. You know, there's this huge, this would be another video for another day, but there's this huge conception that, oh, you know, anime characters are all white. You know, there's no diversity in anime and manga. And I have to tell some of my friends who aren't pretty well educated when it comes to anime and manga, I tell them like they don't draw those characters to look white. Like if you start getting into hair color and eyes and the different things that symbolize his personality, if you just get deep into it, there's a reason for that. You know, in particular, the eyes are meant to convey emotion, so you can't really do the eyes like this, really big, because it messes up the design. Like I said, another video for another day. But what Oda looks like he's purposely going out of his way to, you know, basically make this like a damn rainbow cotton candy type thing when it comes to characters. So that was pretty cool. My chapter question for you guys, I would say, what did you think about the whole concept of basically everything that's in the Sky Island at this point, its buoyancy is off? What did you think about the whole thing with the evolution, that basically the animals, the fish, basically they had to adapt in order to survive? And finally, what do you think about Usopp's dumbass jumping down into the sea of clouds, if you will? As always, if you like anything I had to say, hit that like button, comment, rate, subscribe, share. I'll greatly appreciate it. As always, thanks for watching.